just gonna do it live. We're recording. I have not seen the lists for the summer 2020 group stage, and I'm in my group, and I'm like, guys, I'm gonna talk about this.
Yet.
Huh?
You have not looked at the lists yet.
I scrolled through them quickly just to see how many green things I could see, and I have opinions on that. And
There's a lot.
okay, so let me. How do I want to do this? I'll post a link in the description because this will be a post-recorded video. I'll share my screen just so that whatever.
Oh, okay. So that we'll see the list.
We'll see exactly what I'm looking at.
Now, I think, Jim, have you had a chance to look over the lists?
A little bit. I looked at my opponent's list, and
oh, you're playing Kira mode.
Yeah, and I've never met him. I know him through Colby, and he's a master deck builder, and it's going to be tough keeping
sloppy. You play tighter than he does. You can beat him.
He's got a lot of. There's a lot of.
He's got some interesting tricks coming your way.
He's got a lot of tricks. I guess. Lots of ways to move focus tokens around. He's got to stay on. He's got a I have you now, which.
Okay, so
yeah,
let's. I want to organize this a little bit. I want to talk about the dark side, and then I want to talk about the light side, because I think one of these is going to be easier to talk about. That's the dark side.
Okay. Should we do the 10,000-foot view?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not in this format, which I'm actually super happy that I got swept by Andy, because now I didn't have to submit a deck list for this nonsense format.
We get to watch everybody else play. It's great.
Yeah, it would have been my Mono Sith one, which, admittedly, I curated this card pool, and when I was asking for advice about it, I said, guys, I don't know how to build a scum pool. Is this good? Is this strong? Is this weak? I can't tell.
Evidently, it's pretty strong.
And it
turns out, people have gravitated towards it.
Turns out, if you put Jabba, the core of Jabba BK Guri is so strong and consistent that it is all over the place, very often featuring double Joss.
Yeah, so for me, this actually reminds the meta reminds me a lot of Core, where there's Sith Trinity. This is the deck. You got Vader, Palpatine, and Council, and then you throw some Navy in there, fill it out with other Sith. You put a Boba in there, but the final 2 or 3 pods can actually provide a whole bunch of flavor for the deck. But it's very much, we are in a BK, Jabba, Guri meta, and that's just this big challenge that's been set out by Darkside. And because of that, light side is all over the place, and there's a huge amount of diversity as people are trying to figure out how to address that challenge.
I will also shout out that name was taken for being the guy to break the mold and not run the trio.
Yes, yeah, he is. So the name was taken. Carlos is our one player who is not running any scum. He's playing a Force Storm, I Have You Now, Imperial Bureaucracy, Loop It and Do It All Over Again deck.
Amazing.
I played this deck a little bit, and it is a lot of fun, and I think it's gonna. it's going to win some games. We'll see if it wins enough games. You got to see how many game points this light side deck can get.
So, Mick and Jim, I got a question. Guri, Jabba, BK.
Yep.
Which one of those, I think if you remove Guri, it still is fine. If you remove BK, it's still fine. If you remove Jabba, it's not. Am I on base with that?
So my feelings going into it before I started seeing any lists coming in and having played for a bit was I had predicted that we were going to see a ton of BK, Guri, Jasper, and then various flavors of Java and Force Storm. And I was really wrong on just how prevalent Java would be.
I thought it was going to be all Java, at least one Guri, and then the BK, because the BK solves a lot of issues. It solves the money issue, it solves the bomb issue, it solves what Xavier and Colby talk about over and over and over again, the third gun issue. It solves too many issues, and also it allows you to attack and have a ready defender for a relatively low cost.
Yeah, that's
everything about that pod is useful. Even the objective, like there's I sound like Colby, but like if you see any cards in that pod, you're not sad.
Like the Alliance of Evil is sort of the least exciting card of the time. Even that's fine because you can get a shield.
The Allies is super playable in Scum with there's so many cheap units that also want to fight, like Sycophant and Afra's Droid or Guri's Chud are all ready to get in there for the extra gun from Allies.
Yeah, I think you're right too, Jim, about the fact that BK can easily get that third gun repeatedly in his own pod with the arms dealer. And I think that's one of the reasons why Jasper is also so good, that with the blaster pistols, he can also reliably get up to 3 guns, but he has a few more hoops to jump through to get his targeted strike online. So it doesn't surprise me at all that people like BK more than Jasper. But I think they're both really good. So I ran a deck that had the 2 of them and Guri, but didn't have any Javas, but Java's really strong. So what about Java people like so much?
It is money, removal, and the thing to use Guri with.
Yeah, both Guri and threat removal.
Yeah, the fact that you don't have to save the 2 money for threat removal is huge.
Yeah, you don't have to telegraph and open 2 money. And you don't even have to have Java in the engagement to activate that money.
Right.
So let's say like there was in my match against Colby where I defended with Java, I was a little bit gun shy about bringing Java in anymore because it's like, whoa. Went close to the fire with that, but his money was still, I guess, for want of a better word, up.
Yeah, and like one of the things I wanted to explore with the card pool, like Java was a very much included pod because he makes weird money, and his objective is 2 money. So I'm like, Java's definitely in. Is he worth it? Is he actually that much money? Turns out the answer is yes, because he makes you $4 a turn, which is so much.
Potentially, but yeah. It's a lot.
Well, he can always like there's a game that I played. I think it was against it might have been the Jim game, or it was against Andy, where he had a Java on the table because that's what you do. You play Java turn 1. And I'm like, okay, I've got to play around threat removal and Guri and Twist, and I've got to play against Hut's Hospitality. And I can only play into so many of those. So like just having Java means I can't attack with the 2-drop. Because if you had Hospitality, that's 2 free tactics for you. You defend, you kill, you get tactics.
Yep.
So Java's an issue. Let's talk about these splashes, because they are all over the place.
Exciting. Yeah. So I was surprised to see how many people are running Feinsman's Intuition. Sometimes like 2 of them.
Revenari is...
That was my MVP pod. Every one of my wins, I can trace back to that pod.
Oh yeah, you did something cool with it against me.
I mean, I put a containment field on C-3PO, and that's I think I told this to Colby before. It allowed. I look at that pod as like one of the things it can do is it can let you win edge battles. I mean, not edge battles, force struggles in situations when you have no business winning a force struggle.
Yep.
And that's something that Scum was supposed to be kind of bad at. Turns out they still had just a bunch of 3-dot cards in Java. So and Feinsman's really shored that up.
Yeah,
And
I think the springing the ambush gets pretty exciting.
Yeah. Because you can. I mean, I'm sure everyone had similar games where like a Ben hits the table, the light side takes the force, and then that's not an active turn for the dark side to take the force and then capture Ben, and then that's $5 gone.
It's gone, yeah. So Colby's actually got the list right now showing Revenari's list. That's Nate Ferrero. And his dark side list, I like to call this archetype Scumstorm, where it's, the powerful scum ones with Port Storm. He's got double Scouring the Empire and double Feinsman, which I think is so interesting, because he can do an Echoes of the Force to commit something and then just nab it.
The dark side Echoes is excellent, I must say. Sorry, I gotta move my laptop a little bit.
Yeah, like the dark side Echoes, I was happy to see that in both, in like 2 pods. I found a lot of value out of that card because like it prevents the seeds, it turns on Jarek things. I know there was a game where I had to defend on the Inquisitors just by like, I need more defenders. I'll take your guy off the force and make a guy.
Yeah, you freed up money with that also.
Yeah. And then there's the droid package. So I know like Josh is big on the droid package. Where's Josh?
Yeah, he's the only person running, I think, double. No.
Donovan is too.
Donovan's list is the exact same, but they're running double Afra and double 000.
This one here.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. And you see other people running like a copy of 000 along with the Force Storm.
Mm-hmm.
No Force Storm in that list.
Josh wrecked me with that.
There's a couple of Mios floating around.
Pretty fun.
The Afra 000 things dying, things coming back. I saw 000 like 2 or 3 times in one engagement, and he killed my entire board. And I won the edge battle. That was the worst part of it.
Oh, it's miserable. I was also surprised to see how many people included Mio in their deck lists. I think that's awesome.
Mio was my pick at the top of at the start of this whole thing. I was like, yeah, Mio. Mio's going to be the champion. And like, he's good. I think just like turns out just mono green was better.
Yeah, I started off with double Mio, then went to 1 Mio, and then actually dropped down to 0. Because I sort of progressively started the card in that deck that really I used the most was the regeneration.
Really?
Yeah, like because
that's just saying that you didn't use the cards in that pod, so you dropped it.
Yeah, and it's because like I would find myself with like turn 1 Mio, and Mio really doesn't want to be on the force. And if you have a turn 1 Mio and they attack, you either let the attack through, or if you defend, you're going to have a sad Mio for a long time.
It's super interesting though when you get the bloated scum board and he just doesn't go into conflict, but then light side you can't kill any of their units because the dance goes over to Mio and then it gets flung back at you, and it also prevents unopposed. So I get why people are including him.
The other thing
I just like you don't include him if you aren't running double Jasper. I thought that he helps make Jasper better. But Anton has him, and he has no Jasper.
Yeah, look at this.
He's not running. Not running Knight with the.
No, double Snow though.
Oh, interesting.
One more up here. And again, I'm not looking at the light side lists at all. I know I'm scrolling past them, and I'm just not reading them.
They are all over the place. Like there is one dark side deck in this format with various splashes, and then there's Carless.
Okay, and then I want to talk about Recon Mission a little bit. So one of the tests I was running was, are twists necessary? I think the answer is no, which is good. People are willing to build without twists, but people who identified that Recon Mission is really good in the scum list, or really good in a dark side list,
Like, didn't that name was taken?
Carlos has it, and
yeah, this edge-based list that likes to recur things can recur its twist. Seems good.
that list has a huge edge hand too.
And like that one more card plus Guri was a huge problem for me. I'm not familiar with playing Guri. I still don't understand Guri. I still don't understand Scum. I keep listening to it. But Recon Mission was like, Jim, tell me about Recon Mission, because that pod I keep listening to it.
For at least for me, it solved a lot of issues, because once I moved to on all Scum deck, I needed to find bombs, because there's not that many bombs, so I had to rely on the Aqualish for bombs, and I needed some other way to sort of shorten the game, and so my Recon Mission, those droids basically provide a free bomb on a lot of unopposed attacks that you end up getting after a big light side offensive. So having those on the deck as free drops, those were bombs. The target of opportunity is another bomb. If you get the objective out, then the seventh card is a dream, and it also forces them to generally go after that objective and leave your other objectives kind of alone. Although you went after Jabba's objective first, and then that second.
It's impossible, because you have to weigh, like, are you going to get 2 hospitalities back, or are you going to get 7 cards for the rest of the game? Well, I can't keep losing my Ewoks. But the thing about Recon Mission that I love that you identified, you brought me back to something I said just off the cuff, like a long time ago, is that you have to, like, in exploring getting everything out of a pod, I said you're not allowed to play Core Vader until you can appreciate the Dark Side Apprentice's white bomb.
A white bomb on the Dark Side Apprentice. I still remember that.
You're not allowed to play that pod until you can appreciate that bomb. And in playing Recon Mission, like, Jim has been using those bombs, and I saw, I think it was Andy using them to sack to the black market, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting too how you can then split and do like one Guri and one Recon Mission, saying, I'm getting a Guri and a threat removal here and a twist over here. It's possible to have like too many combat tricks. Like sometimes your hand just gets gummed up with too much Guri stuff.
Yeah, that's why I only run. That's why I've always run one Guri. I think I can only remember one match I had 2 Guris, and that was against John Heath Clark years ago. And then that basically ended up happening. I had a handful of Guri tricks that I couldn't use.
Yeah. Or you run double Guri and Recon Mission, as some people here have chosen to do. Like, that's also good.
So yeah, I'm super excited about this. I feel like, I wonder, like, changes I would have made to the Dark Side pool in retrospect. I think the Hop Walker pod with new Veers was a big miss. That should have been in the pool. I think that the Seventh Sister could have been in the pool still. I think that would have been fine. I think Torrent Attacks is a big question mark. Probably not, but but Scum, like, there's probably a cool pod or two you could put in there to bring back. Like, I saw people are running Trandoshan Terror. There's 1 or 2 of those in the pool. There's Boba Fett.
Change. He's made it.
Yeah, Bosk made it. He's got 2 bombs, yo.
Yeah, Bosk made it, but also Core Boba made it.
He made it as a 2x.
He did. Yeah.
I know Stan put in Core Boba. Did anyone end up putting in Lowrick?
Okay.
No.
So let's go to the light side. I actually have not looked at these lists. Jim, I think your phone's ringing.
Oh. It's not.
Colby, the 10,000-foot view of light side is like, what do you do against this dark side monstrosity?
Right. So
and it seems that a lot of people have gravitated, whether it's in...
Do you go fast or slow?
Real different groups, yeah, fast or slow, but if dark side doesn't care about edge battles, that they're going to lose edge battles and Guri or threat removal you, you are going to play Running the Trench and just nail them with I Have You Now.
Yep. Okay. So we've got Shields and Slow with Curon and Dice and Obi. Then we have Hop. Like this is a New York Hop list. Oh no, this is the Donovan Hop list.
Yeah. So there's
Donovan
two types
and John
of
L. This is a Donovan list that.
List.
This list is wild.
Calling and Hoth.
Do you notice how they're Rebel affiliation?
Yeah, you don't want to start Smuggler. You don't care.
I think this deck is strong in the format because I've learned to appreciate game points. I missed the cut by 4 game points by getting rolled against Andy. This deck gets game points.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like I think that this deck also kind of embodies what this format was trying to evoke. Trade your units for your bombs, and maybe you'll win. So there's that. Ooh, we got Endor. Is this a 12 pod
this
deck?
is a Lost in the Forest deck.
12 pod
playing
quad
it.
Endor.
Lost in the Forest can be decent because it's Dark Side will be playing a unit or so, and then they want to spend money on their units and then attack with their bounty hunters. And if you have Lost in the Forest out, they're only refreshing 3 units. So, do they get their money back? Do they not get their money back? If they attack with their bounty hunters, how many blockers do they have left?
The other thing that's cool about this is it's a lot of ways to protect things from threat removal. Actually putting the enhancement on something will protect it. Like I'll enhance Logray for 0. That's fine. Having native blessings and the survivors makes Logray kind of survival, as well as like.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing the slow thing. Like, I disagree with this on principle that Ewoks is supposed to be fast. This deck is trying to go slow, and I don't know. Maybe this deck builds up, and then it plays ground support, and then you win the game.
Yeah, I think this deck can rebuild itself pretty well. Like
when you're running double survivors, I don't know if I can agree with that. I don't know.
Now, you played this deck, right, Mick?
Yeah, I played it once against you.
Okay, I was wondering if you played it anymore or not, because that was pretty early in the go round.
Yeah. Well, was it my last game? I think that might.
Oh, is that your last game? It was my first game.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we have 4x Hop into yellow. Whoa, with Jim.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the Nate Ferrero special. I don't.
Hey, I can't knock Ferraro for playing anything. He can make anything work.
I mean, he's doing 6-4 the reverse way, but he really wants to see attack pattern delta and inhospitable deployments on the board.
Flopping only 1 hop makes those pods pretty. Flopping 0 makes them unplayable. Like the troopers with 0 guns and the Echo Scout not drawing you any cards. It's so bad.
Yeah, you're sad. You're sad if you don't have.
I think he's got some big blast potential in there.
It's a lot of bombs.
I don't know. Maybe people are just doing the Josh Johnson special and throwing a dart at the wall and then building a deck they've never played before.
I'm super excited for the Josh Johnson special. I advised him on that. I want to see what he submitted. Okay, hold on. I did not talk to Xavier about this. What is this nonsense?
So Xavier's got a cool list. He really loves well-equipped, and he is running all of the well-equipped that he can in this whole tournament.
No, he's not.
Isn't he? He's got
R2.
Oh, he doesn't have R2. Okay, that's right.
Spirit of Rebellion.
Could have been better, Xavier.
No. I think he probably talked to James or something. People think that just native blessings without Lost in the Woods is sufficient.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's true. I don't love it, but I build differently. This is super interesting. No 2 money objectives except for Danger in the Wastes. The money's a little weird. This deck feels odd to me. That Obi-Wan seems odd. Okay. Xavier, good luck.
He's gonna.
I'm going to talk to you about this one.
He's gonna get smuggler unit. He's gonna have protection out there. That can happen. Send him a message. Complain.
Okay. Oh, Andy just mentioned in our chat that actually no one is running the R2 with well equipped.
He is.
I guess no one else. I don't know. I don't know. He pinged it. Anyway, here is another hop list. I think hop is great. I'm so happy that we made Frozen Refuge. Oh, no, this isn't Frozen Refuge. Echo-based defense is playable, which I'm happy about. And like Frozen Refuge saw a lot of play.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Kyle in there.
Yeah, maybe he'll get a win one time.
Maybe.
One day.
Maybe his edge will matter.
There's
our Frozen Refuge player.
Here we go.
Ivan.
Yeah, Jim, so you're running this with double draw their fire and no Frozen Refuge, right?
Yeah, I found that Frozen Refuge didn't give me enough cards to win. I felt that the extra Akbar gave me cards that would help sway the game in my favor more than the Frozen Refuge did. Or I was playing Frozen Refuge incorrectly, which is probably more likely. Because
no, you're just identifying that Frozen Refuge doesn't do anything.
I ran decks with, obviously not making the cut, but getting 6 Hoth so that you are more likely to, get those fighters up to 2 guns, maybe even 3 guns, be drawing more cards with the Scout. And I came to really appreciate the double strike potential that the droid gives you.
Oh, the medical droid?
Yeah, so I ran basically the deck that you have, Jim, but I don't have Alderaan's Promise. I still got Frozen Refuge.
And I think that the Hop deck is cool in that it's these very 6 hodgepodge Hop pods that came together to be one of the stronger cores in the cycle, in the format, and found this very natural pairing with running the trench. And I would never build that otherwise. It felt really cool.
The Hoth deck can just crush edge battles. When you get Durlin out there with edge 2 or 3, and you have all these battles of Hoth, and running the trench has 2 cards with 3 pips each. That it's pretty easy to have double-digit edge hands.
And if you have an Echo Scout or 2 Echo Scouts out,
yeah,
you got a lot of cards.
Start setting up your APD triggers.
Yeah.
What is this monstrosity that Daniel's running?
Oh, this deck is amazing. This deck is a work of art.
Is this Rainbow Spider?
It is. It's Rainbow Sabine's box, I guess. Sabine's bird box here. He's got it's painting stuff with Sabine, getting double strikes and icons in there, stripping icons with birds, pushing stuff through with spiders, and then 6 1-ofs of just.
He's also going to recur Sabine. He's going to recur Sabine's bomb with the junk dealer.
Yeah. So he will typically do that on Darkseid's turn. Okay, let's go throw both explosive devices over at that thing, and he can clear out defenders before an edge battle even happens.
Oh, and Forgotten Masters. Oh,
yeah, so he's got just good hard-hitting units in there.
This is wild. Yeah. It's 3 color because it's Daniel. And it's 3 color way off.
Yeah, the indoor Durlin in there is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And he's got the one I have you now, so he can smash people with that.
Keep him honest.
All right, that's cool. That's what you're going up against, right, Jim?
That is what I'm going up against. Oh, and he's got 2 of the size matter not. Ooh,
that's real.
Beware.
That is.
Yeah, and lots of targets they can go on to with all the birds and the Lost Masters.
That's going to be.
And the artist. Off of bird onto artist. Off of spider onto artist. Ooh.
Or a painted Durlin getting his targeted strike.
But like,
a few times, just
this
destroy.
Is fancy. But don't you just shoot it with scum guns?
Well, that's what bird.
That's what the birds are gonna do. Or try to do.
Huh.
So I mean, I guess you gotta hope you can catch it with like a Gurry. So the birds aren't gonna work on Gurry.
I mean, you can only do so many birds against you.
Yeah, I think there are only one. You can only activate a bird once per turn.
Right.
Yeah, and you have to sacrifice to do it. He can recur them, so
you can recur.
That can happen too to you, Jim.
Wild.
That'll be a fun game.
That's gonna be fun.
I'd like to record that one.
I'm really excited to play him because I've heard so much about him, and through Colby and through the New York group. So I'm really excited to play him. Really excited.
Okay, so we know Jim's list, top. Andy's list. That I played against.
Oh, we're talking about his light side list. His dark side list is cool too. The black market.
Oh yeah, okay, we'll talk about that. Like, if you want to watch all of Andy's decks do exactly what they want to do, just go watch my game with him. I'm a little salty about it, guys.
His dark side deck took the actually, Nick, you did this against me in the last go around. The dark side deck took it from dial 5 to dial 12 in one turn,
which is crazy on a scum list in this format.
Yeah, the ability for if Scum with the Bounty Hunters is wanting to attack every turn and just kill Lightside's board, they're essentially racing before Lightside can get anything together. And to then be able to plop out a Devastator or Mustache Man and say, oh, yeah, I'm finally gotten around to, plinking off objectives, and I will bump the dial and bump the dial again. And hey, the dial started on 5 on my turn, and I've now won.
Well, he had a Devastator with the Racer Pilot and Market Exchange, and like what Colby had said, he was sacrificing his recon mission droids to just recur that Devastator over and over and over again.
The interesting thing here is that he made the choice to go double Drift instead of double Jabba. That really tells you that, he is trying.
He wants that black market. He was even thinking of cutting Jabba for a second Devastator. So
wow.
It's I don't need defense. Yeah, no, that's cool. What's his light side? He's on Hero of 1,000 Devices.
Yeah. He loves that pod. He thinks C-3PO. I mean, he's right. C-3PO is incredibly valuable. And R2-D2 is also those are two fine units to play. R2-D2 has a bomb, which is important on the dark side, on the light side. The medical droid can heal Q-Ron fully in the course of a turn. Yeah.
I remember in the beginning I experimented a lot with this kind of deck with Q-Ron and Obi-Wan with smuggler cards to get protection of just, if I can build this thing, you won't be able to kill any of my units, and, edge battles won't matter because they'll be Xi'an training and blah, blah, blah. And
that's true. Once you get
just
set up.
Well, here's BK, and here's a death mark, and I'm a gracious host, and now you're gone.
So I think death mark is the thing that sways this matchup. If this deck flops the survivors or native blessings and actually gets a couple guys to stick, then makes them I don't want to attack you for a turn. Then they play the Obi-Wan or the Q-Ron, and suddenly they've got protect. It's actually kind of rough.
Yeah, this deck wants to play slow. So I think Dark Side needs to try to find its targeted strike early to dismantle that. Otherwise, Light Side's going to have a lot of fun.
Or if there's a desert recruitment out and they keep on healing Q-Ron, that is brutal.
Yeah. Yep.
Because once Dice is on the table, you can't lock him out. He still does his thing. And that's one of the things that in both of these limited formats, Dice has proven strong at, is okay, I'm going to let Dice live. He's going to hang out focused and provide his pressure.
Okay, Josh Johnson special.
Okay, Josh sent me this list entirely unprompted, and it is doing the thing that I was trying to do with Kian instead of Biggs. What this deck does is it plays pilot monies. It's got both Raise the Stakes and Daring Escapes and MoMA to find that money, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pilots that are free, and then Luke, who comes in for like 1 or 2. The idea behind this deck is, in a world where everyone's tempo hit, what if all my money were elite? Because that's what these pilot monies say. And all of my pilots have a gun, white tactics, 2 health, and 2 dots for the most part.
When it's definitely put your pilots out on foot and recur them later, or as the situation requires. But yeah, they all have tactics. That's great.
They all have tactics.
And the loyal co-pilot's still fine on foot. He has 2 dots, and this deck...
Take the force.
Yeah, if he dies, oh well.
He's great because he can shield your transports, so you can push something through.
The only transports in the deck, though, are Outrider and the Neon Numb ships, so it's a little weird.
What if Darkseid's like really wanting to get a threat removal through, and then suddenly the loyal co-pilot shows up?
I did that. I've done that. Stay on target for loyal co-pilot onto Blue 9 for no effect, and stop threat removal. I've done that play. It was on camera against somebody, maybe Jim.
No, it was against. I know who it was against. It was against. It may have been against. I forget who it was against, but it's on camera, and you got it.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you did.
And I think this deck, it actually has a lot of shields. It has R2D2. It has Resistance to Rebellion. Those guys bring you shields. And then it's got Raise the Stakes, which I think is a huge pot in this pool. It's kind of hard to fit. CCO is a monster.
Yeah, that guy's great.
Especially in the Scum matchup, because Jabba likes to play things that cost 2.
He likes to play things that cost 2. There generally be like a 2/1 money guy out there who you can move over onto, a more threatening chud.
BK's chuds, Jabba's chud, Guri's freelance assassin, the chud from Afra is a good target. And
Jabba likes to overtap stuff, so
right.
you're probably going to have that extra focus on him.
And you get swim.
The issue with this deck that Josh has, though, is it doesn't have enough bombs spread out. So it's running the trench, which is 2 units with 2 bombs, and that's a big deal. They'll Never Stop Us also has 2 units with a bomb, which is real, but all these pilot pods, only Outrider has bombs, only the Freighter has bombs, only the Blockade Runner has bombs.
Yeah, but the Freighter and the Blockade Runner aren't unique, so...
Right. This is a really cool deck that I think works in this format, and it has a ton of money. Running the Trench and Daring Escape have 2, and They'll Never Stop Us have 2 money objectives. I advised Josh to consider double Biggs over Gardener's Secret, but he didn't, and I think that's just fine. Because if your pilots are on foot, then Red 3 actually protects them all. You can't target them.
You can't force storm them.
You can force
them.
Can you
force them? Okay.
You can't threat remove them. You can't hospitality them. You can't heat them. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, we will see if it can get the job done versus Donovan's droid deck, which is also the same as Josh's droid deck.
Look, here's more Running the Trench, Raise the Stakes, Daring Escape. Very similar deck, but also running Secret Weapons, Colony Favors. Like, this deck has a very similar feel to it.
Yeah, that's sort of the pilots deck. Like, I feel both Josh and Darren are on pilots.
This Sabine has me so confused. Oh, I gotta get my battery. Hold on.
I mean, Raise the Well-Equipped is great. You got your pilots, that's an enhancement, and then you can potentially double strike with a big, beefy ship. If you paint the thing, you can get a ton of icons.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense to me. Not throwing Sabine.
Yeah, it's scary. It's an extra threat. And when Sabine I get very anxious when Sabine hits the board. I feel a lot of pressure to try to deal with her, get her off the board.
Oh yeah, she is definitely somebody to go after with your targeted strikers. She'll come out early, generally not get involved in engagements, probably spend some money, but if the opportunity presents itself, she can paint something, give it a ton of icons, and there's just multiple strikes coming through. She can do it.
And it gets back to one of Colby's points. She can provide someone with a third gun that can zap one of your units.
Yep. Yeah, she's just kind of icons out of nowhere.
It is interesting to see this deck without the MoMA, though. Like, running the Sabine makes me think, shouldn't that have MoMA? And, like, even recurring R2 is real.
Oh, just buying back the bombs?
Yeah.
Or anything, really.
Yeah, like buying back custom paint job. Like, Daniel's going to do that. What is Stan running?
Yeah,
Hop?
cool.
Yeah, Hop.
Yeah, he's got I have
Stan.
you now off.
Yeah, Stan has the same list I do.
Look who it is! It's Lobot!
Yeah, Lobot made it. Defensive Cloud City. Here we go.
That was your one of your quests, wasn't it, Colby?
I wanted someone to run Lobot. And, like, Lobot's pod has such good tools, but is so bad.
You can go, if you play MoMA, you could potentially go get out that enhancement that then just provides all of your stuff a shield when it comes in.
That is absolutely worth doing.
Try to push through it. Like, he's trying to push through bombs on red 5, on blue 9.
Run in the trench with I Have You Now. Oh. Okay, so we're either going slow with Survivors and Obi-Wan, or we're going fast with I Have You Now and Hop, or we're doing nonsense with Daniel's fever dream of painted spiders, or you're Darth BS and you're doing both things. He is going slow and fast. He has Survivor's Danger of the Waste, but he has Run in the Trench. I don't know.
I didn't see any Lowrick in any of the decks, did I?
No,
there's no Lowrick. So diversity on light side's actually quite good. I think there's a couple Jedi, like Ahsoka isn't in there.
The Jedi there's no Jedi deck. Let me pull up the card pool.
But like, we see birds, we see Curon, we see Blue 9, Trissat. Mysteries of the Rim didn't get included anywhere. But I kind of get that. Like, those guys get nailed with Hutt's hospitality.
Right. Like, turns out Jabba was more of a force in this format than I had expected.
Like, they're great if you have a board, but I think people are trying to figure out how do I do anything when I'm deploying,
so
this unit out of the board each turn.
So thinking about the card pool, I think the biggest thing I learned, and I kind of want to know what you guys learned as well, but the things for me is that light side actually needs ways to deal with units. Things like seeds, things like clever distraction, but like light side has no heats. That was by design, and that was wrong. If I had the chance, I would put in either Luke or Chirrut on the lights on Jedi. I would put in I think Rex would be wrong, but I would put in Wedge. Maybe I don't think Judder Page is necessary. On Smuggler needs no match for a good blaster. I think that's a real pod in this format.
That would have been the pick I would have asked you to put in.
Yeah, and that one actually got cut for secret weapons, which I think was incorrect. There's so much that I learned, and like on the dark side, I think that there was a little bit more room for tribalness to happen. I think either Baron Fell or I think Baron Fell would have been okay. Like, looking back on it, I think putting that pod in the pool would have been okay over Howl Runner or something. Over one of the core fighter pods. Maybe over a Sport of the Fleet. I don't know. But definitely the Walker pod. Which scum pod do you remove to nerf scum to the rest of the level of the dark side.
Jabba or Guri? I would say probably Guri.
I think Guri. I think Guri feels the worst to play against, but yeah. I learned a lot about Scum from this, and I learned like how those pods are good, but also how flexible they are. I wanted to make Scum a little bit more tribal, and like in retrospect, I don't know how to do that.
What do you mean by tribal?
Like, Endor is a tribal deck. Hoth is a tribal deck. I should put more droids in because this is a droid tribal deck. Scum just had the ability to not only have its core pods, but splash anything it wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? And
yeah,
I wanted
success.
I wanted Scum to have to think about what it splashed a little bit harder. Like Night Tribal or something. I don't know.
If you get rid of Jabba, then I think, well, that forces the dark side decks to become I think almost completely different. Maybe not, but I think there would be lots of differences.
I think you could drop Jabba and BK for maybe Zekathine. That might be okay in this format. Probably not, but maybe. Especially if the light set has so many ways to go around things. I think I don't know.
I wonder if you had dropped Jabba, would people play Feeding the Pit? I never saw Feeding the Pit ever in any of my matches.
I didn't. To make Feeding the Pit more enticing, I would have wanted to put in more creature synergies. But yeah, Feeding the Pit's hard to play without, like, Donovan would always make bombs on that pod, because Crate Dragon with Spice Visions is so many bombs. I think Shizor could have reasonably replaced Jabba in this pool. Like, if you replace Jabba for Shizor and drop Guri for, I want to say Zeka, but that's also probably wrong for other reasons. But if you drop Guri and you make Jabba into Shizor, suddenly the Scum has a very different feel, and it still has to think about its money.
Well, Jabba is free money, and Shizor is you gotta pay.
Yeah, Shizor is a deceptively expensive pod, despite its objective being busted.
I think this is one of the interesting things in the limited card pools and just learning more things about the game. And when you change the environment, the structure stays the same, but you change the environment. Is that you created a card pool that I wouldn't have created. Like I would have put in more 1/1 monies and such. You know, we got different ideas, but you did this. You created this one, and we see a huge diversity on light side. It's absolutely fantastic, and as I said before, it reminds me a lot of core sets. So it's all like what you want from stuff. When I listen to like the suggestions being made, you know, it's also, well, you get different flavors of what different people want, and I'm really excited to see who wins this whole thing and what their ideas for our future card pools are.
Oh, me too.
I told Colby this last week. I said that, like, I was so happy about all of this because I was thinking about decks and putting out decks and thinking about structuring thinking about the light side up until pretty much yesterday. And so from the beginning of this till yesterday, I was thinking about the light side, and that's what sort of kept me going, especially with the pandemic going on and everything else being up in the air. I mean, so I want to thank you for, whether that was intentional or not, it kept me going, and it kept me thinking, and in a way that I sort of like enjoy thinking, and like it. Yeah, so this was great.
There's a to us. How do you beat this Scum deck?
What I've learned about the game is the way to win a game of Star Wars at a high level is you put your opponent in an uncomfortable position where they have to attack you. You win the attack, and then you play multiple units and attack back. And that last part is like what I've learned the most about, because you can't just sit on these. You can't do all the steps and then not play multiple units, because your units are gonna be exhausted or something. You have to be getting free units from Logray. You have to be making a money base so that when the time comes, you can play a 4-drop and a 2-drop at the same time. You can't overspend all of your money, pay 6 on turn 1, win that edge battle, and then turn 2, you like have a damaged guy and a chud. Building the infrastructure in this game is actually so important. And that's something that I wanted to test, and that's something that I've learned, which I'm... we learned that now. Turns out hitting your money drops is important, and necessary for the long game.
Yeah, it's just so interesting, because when you're listing off other things to include and what goes out, is like the things being listed of Zizor and such. Like, if I were to design something again, it would probably be all like Hunt for Han Solo and Prophets of the Dark Side.
Yeah.
Oh, just the garbage pods.
Yes.
Well, speaking of that, Daniel, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Daniel, that's a good segue. Daniel was telling me his opinions on a thing, and he said he would include nothing but the jank pods, like core pods that are boring and then all the jank.
I've seen his list though, and it's like we have very different ideas of jank.
Daniel, we just went through all the deck lists and talked about yours.
That's Colby. That's Mick.
Oh. Do you want me to basically just justify it for a little bit?
Well, you and Jim have to play.
I would very much like you to
Okay, guys.
tell me all of your thinking.
Mick, thank you for doing this with me. Daniel, Jim, let's save it for the actual round, like when you guys actually play.
All right.
And then we'll do a debrief. I'll record it. I'll commentate it. We'll debrief afterwards. Okay.
All right.
All right. Good chat though. Good. Thanks for stopping by at least.
Oh, sure.
All right. See you guys later. Thanks for anyone who
Colby, thanks again. This was it kept me going, and it was a lot of fun. And it was definitely one of the things that you wanted to accomplish. I think you definitely accomplished. How do you think about your money? How do you plan your turns out? How do you get the most out of your money? How do you refresh your money if you can? So, thank you. A lot of fun.
Appreciate it. Good luck in your games.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Later.